Check this one out, the Lord said. He don't tell nobody what second, minute, hour, or day, or night, or week, or month he's coming. But he did say it's going to be 7. So the Lord says, I'm pretty sure it's in the book of Hebrews, for us to have our senses exercised. To discern means to understand good and evil. We're all blinded by that sinful nature in our minds. If we haven't been taught wrong from right and raised up, then we're going to be lying, cheating, stealing, smoking, drinking, fighting, gambling, killing, doing all kind of lustful, sinful, temptation things that not knowing what we're doing. We think we're supposed to be doing that. Somebody's taught us. So that's why this bad world is getting worse.
You know, I've always been a fan of those church signs out by the road that have the hours of worship, but they always have that clever saying or some witticism, you know, designed to lure you in, like, dusty Bibles lead to dirty lives, or something like that. Well, I saw one that really stuck with me, and it said, there's no lie in what we believe. And believe was misspelled with L-E-I in the middle. And it got me thinking about the real things I believe in, those things that are often overlooked, you know, like art and music and myth and the culture of the American Southland.
Upside down Revelation, there's your 7. Now 8, new beginning. 7's completion.
About to preach the gospel now. Wake up. It's later than it's ever been. Wake up. It's later than it's ever been. Ooh, the clock struck 13 times.
When they taste it, they know it's fake. They know that the Southern identity that's given to them through Southern Living magazine or through what's supposedly, you know, corporate Southern music or Southern culture as it appears in TV shows is not the real South. And so gradually, authentic Southern culture, authentic mountain culture, you know, is marginalized and is pushed back and pushed back and pushed back and pushed back.
How many jokes do you know?
47,000.
You know 47,000?
Yeah, Brother Fred Shot knows 50,000. I know 47,000. I might can sit down and start talking. I might think of one I hadn't thought of when I was in the Navy or something. But you mentioned something, I'll think of it. I don't forget anything like that. Painted sign 62 years. Yeah. First sign I ever painted was way on the other side of the eggplant, going on Delta. You seen the Everybody made whiskey when I was a boy, and I knew by the time I was 6 years old. Every time you looked up, 2 or 3 drunks holding on to one another. I knew by the time I was 6 years old, boy, the drunk was something I'd never be. I've never tasted beer or liquor in my life, you see. I've been a painter and a sailor, you see. I'm offered it every week, you know, but it's something I don't do. I just don't do it. All the problems in the world is caused by religious freaks. You make you check your Bible out. You're going to say, oh, what's fault now? When the war started, and the World War started, there was 26 million Jews in Germany, and Hitler meant to kill every one of them. He killed about half of them. And I think the Third World War is right around the corner myself. The Bible says there'll be 3 powers in the world in the next World War. After the next World War, there'll only be 1 power. And then you'll take a brand between your eyes, you know, see?
We're halfway down Bottom Road, and this is the house of the Monkey Man. And there was an old man that lived in this house, and he had a monkey that he carried around with him in a little red radio flyer wagon. The legend is that he died in this house. He was pretty eccentric, as you can imagine, and he died in this house and was here for some time with the monkey before he was found. And the monkey was really protective and wouldn't let anybody near the body. So eventually the sheriff shot the monkey to get to the body. The house has been used for a long time for sinful purposes, as you can well imagine, ever since then. Yeah. So there's a lot of evidence of ungodly activity in there. I think it's one of the few places that around here that I think that they would allow to get in this state without tearing it down. I don't know who still owns it or anything, so we could get shot at any moment.
Get the hell out of here.
Probably a good idea. Ring the anvil 3 times when you first open the forge. It runs the devil off, and when you close the forge up, you ring it 3 times to keep them away while you're gone. Another blacksmith thing is that it was considered almost magical because he dealt with all 4 elements. Because he has earth and the metal, fire, air through the bellows, or in this case a blower, and water to quench with. So, and he could take a rock and turn it into a sword, which made him a pretty popular guy, throughout the ages.
Why is living in the South the greatest place to live in the world?
Gosh, have you seen the rest of the world? I guess that's the best answer. There's this pervasive culture of being being an iconoclast. You're nothing until you are ruining something traditional.
Yeah.
You got to be kicking down an icon before you're made into one yourself. It's like the drowning man syndrome. I'm drowning, so I got to push you down so I can get my head above water. And culturally, that's what we're fucked up right now so badly that we feel the need to push down and degrade and denigrate our ancestors just to make ourselves feel better because we fucked everything up. Mm-hmm. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
Just don't buy it.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I'm a crazy old fuck that lives out in the woods.
Still, Appalachian culture persists, and in some ways, I think it's even gotten stronger because, one thing about this culture that's come into places like Atlanta is that, it's lost in many ways the local flavor, the local customs. And so people find that culture, I think, alienating in many ways. They find it, kind of dry, and it doesn't give them the sense of self and place that's been so important in Southern culture.
I don't understand most of the new country music. I really don't care for it. We play the old stuff, the real country music, as I like to call it. It's have a great time here. It's no smoking, no drinking. The folks that come here are just great people. They're family type people. You almost feel like you're at home when you're here with them. We just come out and every Saturday night and just have a great time with them, and just like to keep on doing it for a bunch of years to come if we can do that. That would make us all happy. It really would.
We get guest people, like guest singers up and things like that. They just, you know, we just make a fun thing out of it. Let other people get involved with the music and let young people kind of get their feet wet and stuff like that.
Just thanks for coming by. And appreciate all the help.
He said, well, I have mannequins and I want to change their clothes.
Run around with a bunch of Indians a lot.
He had the devil there, that's what he called.
Mostly lived down there, I think, by himself.
Well, I've known about John Aiken since I was a kid, and, you know, I just always heard he's a devil worshiper, and he had a church up at his own church. And
he said he was a self-ordained minister for the dead.
And he had a place to lay his Bible, and he talked to the dead. That was his way of talking. He didn't talk to people that's living, he talked to the dead.
He told me he was an artist.
He had suitcases of money.
Smash his mailbox.
He didn't want just anybody coming around.
He was just crazy, I mean.
Everybody knows who John Aiken is, and everybody's got a different story.
John Milton Aiken. You're getting into deep subject.
The deputy called me. He says, are there anybody living there? I says, no, no one is supposed to be in that house. So therefore, I said, well, go on in and arrest them. Well, he was hesitant. He didn't want to do it. The place was a little unusual, haunted or something, and he didn't want to go in. He was just afraid to go in. That's all there was to it.
Put the house there for a reason. There was a graveyard, and the graveyard is under the bed. I used to go out in the nighttime and catch tobacco moths, and I could catch them and put them in a jar and watch them die. It fascinated me.
In Greensburg, when he arrived here, he shocked the community. There's no question about it.
When I built the house, they didn't understand what I was doing, so they were, he's bad, he ain't no good.
Well, somebody tells a tale, and then somebody else tells a tale, but they add a little bit onto the tale. First thing you know, the tale goes a mile long, and it has in there probably 20% truth.
I couldn't stop it. I tried to stop it. It was impossible to stop. So I added to it.
He'd ring his bell to torment the church people.
Now, he showed me pictures one time. He had bones hanging up on all these rafters and everything.
I tried to get a job everywhere. Couldn't get one.
Why do you think nobody would give you a job here?
Because I was thrown out of the Air Force for being homosexual.
Yes, I'm proud of him. Partly because he's my brother, and partly because I base all my decisions on the person's character. If I find a man who is honest, I can live with him. I can get along with him. And I don't really know totally how he thinks. I can't really say that. But he does have a lot of art, and it all has a meaning.
I may be different than other people, but those other people the same as I am. I'm not sorry.
When he's gone, there won't be many people, might not be any, will ever produce anything even close to what's even here now, let alone what was all trashed.
Well, I'm not a devil worshiper. If I was a devil worshiper, I could get out of here just like that.
My mind is to wander, never to part. First time I saw you wounded my heart. Willie, oh Willie, I'm afraid I say nay. Willie, oh Willie, I'm afraid I say nay. Your rambling and gambling will lead me astray. Hey.
My name is Jamie, James Wayne Barrier from North Alabama. This is where everybody that didn't want to fight for the Confederacy or the Union ran to hide during the Civil War. And we are coming upon Coondog Cemetery, where a good friend of mine's dog Phantom is buried. Sitting out here, bummed out. Sun went down and got dark, and I was walking back to my car, and I heard something like a howl, like when the hounds are running the coons. So I stopped and listened, and I heard more and more bays. I saw this procession of white phantom dogs with a casket in the middle, with a dead dog in the middle, carry it right down into this ground. They came through there, and about that time, a little raccoon took off and tore across the corner. All those dogs dropped the casket and took off after the coon, and so they say that's why that one dog haunts this place really bad. You know, you wonder, do dogs go to heaven? You know, I like to believe catfish go to heaven, but we'll handle that topic tomorrow. So that's what the Florence area was. It was Creek Indian land, and it was given. And when Andrew Jackson stole it from him, he'd give it to Coffee. On that land, the forts of Cypress burned to the ground. It's gone. You see these shattered columns coming up out of just the landscape. There's a bridge built over that. Bridge, everybody around calls it Ghost Bridge. Everybody in the world. an older, darker side to Ghost Bridge. There's all kinds of slave stories, and where you can see the lights running from the top of the hill down into the water here. And there's one famous slave tale in particular where a lady was impregnated by one of the plantation owners, and so when the baby was born, they ended up killing her and the baby so that no one would find out. And but still to this day, at night, they say this lady comes up out of the water begging you to come in with her, like wailing for her lost child. So, Jamie, they say you're a Christian. Well, let's hear it, man. You better come with it. I was like, well, Christians today, like Christians, deserve to get ridiculed because they got the tax breaks, they got the biggest churches, they have to build the biggest banks, they got the biggest SUVs, and they fire a missile at anybody that barks at them. You know what I'm talking about? That deserves to be attacked. And a lot of fans and labels and venues have not booked us because they've heard I'm a Christian, and so, but I'm telling you, like, we're all in this together, so we might as well not beat each other up. That's what I say, but I don't know. That's all I can say about that. We all came out of punk rock and the punk scene, but coming from Alabama, you're raised country, so it's kind of like a natural blend or whatnot. Before you know it, you're in the thick of the alt country madness.
I'm but a poor, wayfaring stranger while traveling through this world of woe. But there's no sickness taught on.
Well, I was born and raised in eastern Kentucky in Appalachia. I was 2 years old when I was burned in a fire. I used to run an IT company called Witching Hour Video, which was also a mail order company. And I had some of the 70s and 80s, porn, all the fun stuff. And it just got to the point to where one day with my religious convictions, I just said, I can't do this anymore. As a television horror host, as a television personality here on local cable access in Lexington, there is a dichotomy in trying to be a horror host and a Christian. I mean, I get emails sometimes, people just saying, how can you call yourself a Christian and you're a zombie? Well, my approach to the whole horror hosting thing has been basically to show people that within each one of us, there is darkness. But you know what? There's also a lot of goodness in people too, if we can just accept that. I mean, there's been times when I've almost committed suicide because of what I perceived other people thinking or saying about me. And I turned to God, and it's like this. I died, and I had been resurrected. When I was baptized, I was resurrected. But on me, you still see the blood and my scars. Most of mainstream society and churches really have a lot of things wrong. Mark of the beast, the Antichrist, commercial, religious, and political machine. That is basically what's coming as the Antichrist. It's clear. At least it's clear to me.
Go into some of the local mega churches like Southeast Christian in Louisville or Southland Christian here in Lexington, Kentucky. The room will be almost indiscernible from the lobby of a corporate hotel like a Hilton or a Marriott or something like that. People have built their churches that way in order because they've become familiar with and comfortable in that environment. If you go to the mega churches, it's almost entirely white, middle class, and wealthy people. Because again, those are the same people you'll see in the corporations, and they feel uncomfortable having to associate with the rest of the society. So they create a bubble society within the walls of the corporation. It seems to me here we have a culture that's really less interested in knowing the truth about ourselves and about God and our relation to God, and more interested in a pleasant experience or having pleasure.
I grew up coming to church here, and I can come and look and I can still see the old faces, you know, that have long gone. That was the backbone of the church, strong in the church. And I can still see them and hear their singing.
Oh, could I find from day to day a nearness to my God, then should my hours glide sweetly away and live upon.
The symbolism of the foot washing.
Well, Christ says, I've left you an example, if I have done it to you, you ought to do it to one another. So it's scripture. Oh, that is King James. I think the other New Modern translations say this, basically the same thing. If I have done it to you, you ought also to do it to one another. And so we believe that is not a command, but it is, he says you ought to.
Oh, Jesus, come and rule my heart and make me wholly thine. Nevermore depart.
Almost 3 months ago, as if from today, I've been all over. I've done everything the Lord's asked me to do, and whenever He's asked me to go, yet though I've stumbled a little bit, I'm not proud of it, but He says we will. Always confess and go on.
Well, I'm back in the saddle. Well, I'm at where friend is a friend. With a big hung cattle feed on the lonely Jensen Reed. Back in the saddle.
Hi, my name's Mike, AKA Double Trouble out here on the highway. I run escorts is what I do. I follow oversized loads. I've been doing it since I was 17 years old. It's always been me. I grew up around trucks all my life. I work on them. I just worked on a guy's truck actually earlier today. He's broke down on the side road, pull over, help him out. Get him going, get him back up. That way it saves him $180. It just gives me something to do. Why go home when I can be out here and see everything I want to see? That girl that rides around with me, that's my ex-wife, so she rides around with me all the time. Hell, this truck just caught on fire twice yesterday, and it's still up and running, but I mean, if you're strong enough, you can do it out here. If you're not, then stay home.
Can't take no more of this fooling around. Gonna go down there, turn up some ground. This old mule, his bladed line on this plow. Gonna work him on you, crush you on down, oh babe. I'm bound to plow you under. Lord, forget you forever and ever. I'm bound to plow you goddamn under. Nobody wonder where you've been, neither one. I work hard all day trying to get you off my mind. These old folks down here, they say, son, give it some time. Burning, worry, trouble, sorrow all the time. Got a bone to pick, bitch. I'm gonna crush you fucking down, oh baby. I'm bound to plow you under. Lord, forget you forever and ever. I'm bound to plow you under. Nobody wonder where you been, you know. This song's about plowing, in case you didn't know. I'm gonna plow a little while here.
All right, I got kicked out of church when I was about 8 years old because it was Valentine's Day. They had a little Valentine's party at the church, and they separated the boys from the girls, and I was hyper at the time. And I guess we were doing some kind of trading Valentine's cards or something. We had to make them. I don't know what the deal was. But I kept running into the room with all the girls and being like, hey, and fucking with them about something or other. And the teacher had enough and sent me home, and I went home crying from Sunday school, and I never went back to church again in a day of my life. So fuck them. I made my own church.
Some drunk old woman says she never did wrong. Some drunk old loser says she never did wrong. Kids throwing rocks at a blackbird on the line. I'm still down in plowing, trying to get you off my mind. Oh, baby, I'm bound to plow you under. Lord, forget you forever and ever. I'm bound to plow you down under. Nobody wonder where you been, either, bitch. Now! 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 The sun is going down. The sun is going down. The sun is going down. Yeah, the sun is going down.
Creole is what everybody is here. Like a Houma Indian is a Creole. A Coshada Indian is a Creole. A lot of people here are not French at all, they're Spaniards. They speak French because it was France, but they're Spaniards and they're Creole. And a lot of Cajun people who are descendants of the Acadians that were exiled from Nova Scotia. Well, those people are Creole too, but they're Cajuns because they have Acadian ancestors. The black people who, you have mixed mulatto Creoles who are like descendants of like Acadians as well, and French, Spanish, Native Americans, and African slaves, Haitians. You know, that's where the black Creole come into the picture. And then you have a lot of the black Creoles who are just like the lower class, like slave. And they spoke like a kind of another style of French that was more mixed with like African, you know. But that's Creole, that's the Creole language.
You don't get to see what you think you're going to see, but it tells the truth about what you're going to see. And you get to see all that for $1. Nobody asks for their money back.
Bastard son of the carnival strongman. I talked to hear the white rat by his great granddad. Still he ain't no slouch. They cramming him in with a bullhorn in his hand. From out of high's half empty, but he tops it off with a bottle of burglar's wine. They need a blind man to death with his own damn cane on a jam-packed Saturday.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen out there in Filmland. My name is John Strong, and I have one of the last traveling sideshows in the whole United States. There used to be hundreds of sideshows in the 1920s and 30s on carnivals and very few rides. Now there's hundreds and thousands of rides and very, very few sideshows. We're one of them. In our sideshow, we have oddities from around the world. We have giant snakes, odd animals, and odd attractions, museum attractions in the show. This attraction right here, Billy Bryson, the boy with two heads. My father's had him before me. I have him now. He's actually over 80 years old. He was born with two complete heads. My grandfather was a juggler, and my dad always wanted to have a circus, and so my dad and mom framed their own circus, and it started small and grew into a big 3-ring tented circus that traveled all over. My dad had the main circus, the tent with the acrobats and clowns and animals and elephants and in the circus, and I had what was called the sideshow out front.
What's green and has 1,000 legs? Grass. I'm just kidding about the legs.
My name's Paris. I've been working the sideshow about probably 7 or 8 years. What's my motivation? We live down in South Texas, down the valley, just a few miles from the border. I was a little groggy one morning, you know. I woke up stumbling out of bed with some old snag I'd picked up the night before. A chase? Well, you don't gotta chase them. They don't run. The $10 ones are there. They're not very bright, you know. They smile and it kind of looks like this, you know. And maybe one poking out this way. They might be missing an arm or something. No, I love Journey. I've loved Journey since the beginning. Steve Perry was an ass one day. So these guys were the ones that took care of the mermaids, fed them and everything, and the mermaids were afraid of them. And I went, oh my God. I was working for the carnival and wanted to do something different, and I seen John Strong. And I said, hey, you need somebody. He says, I need a tent guy. And I happen to be tent man, canvas man, so I come to work for him. We've been doing that about 7 or 8 years.
Plant the seeds of deception like a kazoo weed. Just hold it out, drop it, and run for your life. We'll leave it a two-headed fetus on a
My name's John Heiner. I ran across this line of work down here in the South. First couple of people I painted a couple of carnival rides for introduced me to some people that had a sideshow. The man who owns this show, I've known for 15, 16 years. I've painted things for him all along. And we've been good friends. It's not high art. This is big cartoons. But it's important, yes. It's very important. It's entertainment.
All the girls call me Hot Lip. There's certain people that have religious beliefs and stuff that think that pro-life, et cetera, that you shouldn't have something like a two-headed baby, you know. My joy is to find something more sensational to add to the show that would make a big reaction in somebody's being, that something's, you know, this just can't be. People say, how sad, how can you have this cow with 2 faces and stuff? I think what's sadder is when people are producing hamburger for McDonald's. This cow that has 2 faces is never going to be a McDonald's hamburger. Most kids and stuff, if they don't see something odd, they just think that, you know, that it can't be, you know, that it's just normal, you know. They only see their one little environment where they're born and stuff, but there's a big world out there with wondrous things in the world.
Snuffed and there's nothing left, and the spotlight with bugs and bats. It took us one drop rule, complimentary mule down a dirt road to Arkansas, to his hometown of hope at last.
You're looking at, well, they 7.5 acres just actual tobacco. They get 20 cents a stick, 5 sticks $1, you know. Which, I mean, there's a lot of people, they'll make $17, $18 an hour cutting this shit. That's average. A lot of people can do better than that. I can't. That stick will fall towards you. You don't know it when you're bent over and you turn back around. They're right here. These gray boys, they've got a couple eyes. Both brothers did.
This is what happened to my mama, is every night at bed, she would go around to each corner post of our bed and she would kiss it goodnight to protect us. Unfortunately, she didn't know that it had been painted with mercury. That's how my mama went away.
I found a list here in my pocket today. It lists bad doings, deeds and crimes with applicable names. It's throughout history. It's a census in a way. It lists your name and her name and his name and all names in a way that we all must pay. We gotta rise and shine. Glory, glory, yeah, 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 glory. Rise and shine and give God the glory, children of the Lord.
Well, I guess I could tell you about Doter. Doter, he's the one that made me do it. See, when I was little, I used to do kid things that were kind of on the non-aggressive side, but somewhat bad. And I would take fireworks and put them in all the cats' holes, and you know the picture from there. So they finally figured out it was me, and they asked me why I did it. And all I could think of to say was, Doter made me do it. Just kind of popped in my head that way. Well, they set out on a big party trying to find this Doter, trying to hunt him down and accuse him of everything I've ever done. And time went by and they never did find Doter. They didn't put much effort into it. Kind of like most things. And all I got for punishment was I had to go visit my auntie. She lived in the Bedlam.
There's Captain Henry from his doings during the war. And there's Shibington, his deeds with revolvers. There's James McGreedy, crime he fought too hard for the Lord. There's Increased Mather, John Edwards, George Whitfield, and of course it lists James Davenport. We gotta rise and shine, glory, give God glory, glory, rise and shine, God glory, glory, 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 rise and shine and give God the glory, children of the Lord.
Well, now those people who were just a little sick, they got sick for real. See, they got what my auntie had. And I said, Auntie, why'd you do it? She just looked at me and said, Doter made me do it. Doter made you do it. So apparently it's true. Doter made her do it as well.
So, folks, here's what we gotta do. We gotta rise and shine. Glory, glory, God, glory, glory, rise and shine. God, glory, glory, 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 rise and shine and give God the glory, children of the Lord.
We're supposed to go out and try to share the good news. When we receive the good news to other people, if they say yes, then we can share with them our testimony, what we lived through in life. Then we can share with them what we received in life.
fakery, inauthenticity. That's the South they'd like to sell you. I found that many in the South resist that idea and believe that there is still a real South to be had for people, and that as dirty as it sometimes might be, as sometimes monstrous, there's still something special and good and meaningful in that culture that we'd be better off retaining, I think.
Gentlemen, how we doing today? I'm Henry. It's nice to meet you. Tell me your names, please. This is what I do for a living. I rap little corsages. Sometimes you find me on Market Street. Yeah. But I like to get to meet people and know where they're from. I had an electrical accident. Oh, yeah, but I don't let it get me down. I work 7 days a week.
Oh, there you go.
Meeting and greeting folks, doing what I love best.
You got any good Charleston ghost stories?
Well, not really. You probably wouldn't like this. You probably won't believe me. I'm a ghost myself, you know. Yeah. I'm just not a finished ghost yet.
This is how it's always been. This is how we do things in the country. This is how it's always been. This is how we do things in the country.
Sure, the South has its demons, but for every demon, it has its better angels. And if you follow the signs and if you believe, you'll see that all these ghosts just give the South more spirit than anywhere else in America.
Worse than an arrogant Yankee. I despise an apathetic Southerner.
Somebody lied, girl. Somebody lied. Somebody lied, girl. Somebody lied.
My friend's grandma was on her deathbed in the hospital. She's laying there dying, and they said, "Can we get anything for you, Meemaw?" And she said, "You can get me a Dr. Pepper." And they said, "Okay, we'll do that." And they went and got her a Dr. Pepper and poured it in a little cup and gave it to her, and she drank it, and drank a little bit of it, drank a little more of it, and then she goes, "Well, I guess I'll be going now." She put that cup down and died. I'm laughing, but it's an interesting story, you know what I'm saying?
The first and most important thing in anybody's physical life is to get their spiritual soul renewed, reborn, saved, secured.
Again, I want to show people that part of what drives me to do this is the fact that everything is not black and white. There's a lot of gray.